In this video, we're taking a look at how you can use and specify event formats within KeepaScore. First off, what we're going to notice is that the format is the fourth of the main areas or the possible areas within the central capture area. Now, the default setting for KeepaScore is for a dynamic style of game capture and collection. Go ahead and watch the video about playgroups if you want more information about that. But many of the times you're going to be using a fixed format, and the formats that are presented are all based on the total number of players and then the teams that you have specified. So provided all of the settings are set up, for example, if I was to add just one additional player, I might not get the presentation of the formats that I want. So if you know that you're going to have a player swap in or substitute in a particular event, just make sure that initially you set up the event with the number of players that are required in order to satisfy the format that you're wanting to play. So having said that, we can select on the format. Now you can always play with the different formats. You can run mock events, enter data, and you can always choose this option down at the bottom of resetting games. So you typically want to make sure that the way that your event is going to flow is going to work the way that you expect, given the provided options that KeepaScore has. So as you can see, the default option or the initial setting for every event is going to be the default or playgroups, which does not require teams to be created, allows you to simply just have participants and start to capture games. Think of the default of playgroups as one of the most popular formats, and that's all players play with all other players in round robins. That is a dynamic format. Again, go watch the video about playgroups for more information about that. Otherwise, when it comes to your format, you are able to choose from single, best of 3, or best of 5. If you're playing a team event, an MLP style event is nothing more than a best of 5. That is a men's doubles, a women's doubles, mixed doubles number 1, and mixed doubles number 2. That brings you your 4 games, and then your 5th game is a tiebreaker. If you're going to then use pools or any other division of multiple events that feed into other events, you're simply going to be able to choose from any of your possible fixed formats that KeepaScore provides. And as we can see on screen, there's a number of options. Let's go over them briefly. The round robin games is going to, regardless of however many players and teams you have, attempt to create all of the number of round robin games possible. This particular option will exist even when there is an odd number of teams or players. Although players, you can't really play with an odd number. You typically want an even number, at least if you're playing doubles. The way that this is going to differ, round robin games, all teams play all others, versus a round robin bracket, is indicated by the fact that you can see up here the bracket icon. So typically, if you're going to have an odd number of teams, you are still going to see the round robin games option, whereas the only time that you're going to see a bracket is when you have the proper number of teams expected by that bracket. And of course, you can always adjust the teams by adding in buys. Go ahead and watch the video about team options and team settings, and you'll get more information there. So when we see this round robin, note that on any format that we select, we are able to preview what that bracket is going to look like visually. If I was to, say, for example, move to a single elimination, then of course I am going to have my option to see that single elimination. Of course, pinch and zoom allows you to see the visual bracket. Note that in any of the brackets where you do opt to play a third place game, we can see that that is indicated right here by the dotted line. You do not have to play the third place game if you're playing a conventional or standard bracket. Although if you do, then it will show up here. The PDF will not print the third place game if it's not played, and the way that you say that a game is not played in KeepaScore is you simply assign all games in that match, whether it's a single, best of 3, or best of 5, you set them all to 0. You also have the opportunity to use the close out match within the game options. Now, you will note that in this particular case, as I indicate it, I am switching to my turquoise, which indicates that this is a tournament edition only feature. We do have the option on certain bracket formats in order to control the seeding, and KeepaScore will allow you to use whatever seeding you want. We can see that as I make the selection here that the classic or the default seeding, where 1 plays 8, 4 plays 5, 3 plays 6, and 2 plays 7, is what's going to be used, and this is the seeding that is in the community edition of KeepaScore. For the professional edition or the tournament edition, you are able to use whatever seeding you want. So if, for example, I wanted to say 1v5 or 1v4, 2v5, 7v8, that is all I have to do in order to satisfy this. Now, you will have to set all teams because 6 and 3 is not here. I would not be able to use this, so I would need to put in V3, V6, but provided the number of teams matches the total number of teams that you have, and as long as you do not duplicate a team, you can use whatever seeding you want. You can also click the default, and it will default to the classic seeding, or you can clear that. And that, again, only applies where those brackets will use seeding. So, for example, the double elimination will have seeding, a double elimination with no backdraw, which, again, if you need to see the difference between a no backdraw and a backdraw, just click on the bracket icon up in the corner, and you can see that in this particular case, the double elimination does not connect the upper and the lower bracket, whereas with your standard double elimination, you're going to see that you can fight all the way back for gold, even from the bottom bracket. But we also have our compass draw, or what's known as waterfall in Duper. And we also have some very fun ladder climbs, which you can use in order to play some very interesting games, where you put if you are using the tournament edition, you can put your higher ranked players down at the bottom of the bracket. That is down here. In other words, players are trying to move from the bottom all the way up to the top. And using that seeding, you can put your higher ranked players down at the bottom and they have to fight in order to get up to the top of the hill. Or you can put your higher ranked players up at the top and they just have to maintain their position and try to stay on the top all the way through the ladder. This is a very convenient and easy way to make sure that all courts are filled and played at the same time, is to play a very quick ladder. This 3-rung can be played multiple times, and you simply just transfer your teams to the different rungs using the transfer feature, which you can see in the teams video. If there is a format that you would like to see that KeepaScore does not have, then please send us an email at support@keepascore.com, and we'll see what we can do about adding it in.